Influencers either end up having failed relationships or being PDF files. Well, that might sound like a loaded generalization, but we all know that, oddly enough, most content creators branch off to something often so surprising, and so did Alex Dacey, famously known as the wheelchair Rapunzel. If you're wondering which one of the heinous things happened in her case, I'd say the latter. No, this is truly not exaggerated. Alex Dacey did something quite strange with a 13-year-old, a girl who once started posting on TikTok to be a disability advocate and inspire others who face a similar situation, but who knew she was out there inspiring more of PDF files and less of the specially challenged people out there. Well, I should add, that wasn't the only thing this woman has done. There's more to it, however. Let's start with things that are relatively normal, because believe it or not, things are about to get really unhinged as we move forward. Let's begin with how Alex Dacey, aka Wheelchair Rapunzel, got popular on TikTok.
I do my hair talk, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling?
This is how she started her journey on TikTok, posting casually about her travels and showing how she managed her way back and forth in her wheelchair. Her content was quite refreshing indeed, given how the people try so hard to seem picture perfect for the content they post. However, she boldly started posting about her whereabouts, and her new audience found it quite endearing. That said, many of her initial posts revolve around nightlife and alcohol. Later in the video, there's also a discussion of her drinking problem and how she may have used it to her advantage. She eventually grew big on Instagram. She eventually became even more popular by uploading videos about being a single mother, her daughter, and her entire pregnancy online. It definitely isn't common for us to see mothers in wheelchairs. And she raked in millions of views with that kind of content. Moreover, her motherhood-oriented posts raised even more questions from people about how she bathes her baby and how she managed daily care. Others simply hated her content, asking questions like how she could be a good mother if it was already difficult for her to take care of herself. While those questions may sound straightforward and condescending, some people argued that these could become real concerns later in the child's life, especially when the baby grows into a toddler. After all, people don't say, "It takes a village to raise a child" for nothing. One commenter pointed out that her baby daughter might have to become her carer at an early age, to which Dacey replied, "At some point, most children do end up becoming a caretaker to their parents in some capacity. Not saying how R is going to, but just to put it out there." They weren't the only ones concerned. Many of her viewers shared similar worries about Dacey having a baby. However, having muscular dystrophy alone shouldn't prevent someone from becoming a parent. While some people strongly believe that not all parents deserve children, it's also true that all children deserve parents. Let's see how well she handles parenthood to assess this bold statement made by her viewers. On the surface, things seem normal. A woman with muscular dystrophy making content online about her life, cooking, clubbing, drinking, partying, motherhood, and more. But that wasn't the whole story. Unknowingly, we let a major aspect of her life slip under the radar, and it's definitely weird, alarming, and concerning on multiple levels. Alex Dacey has spent her entire life in a wheelchair due to spinal muscular atrophy type 2, a rare genetic condition that causes progressive muscle wasting and severe mobility issues. Despite her challenges, she's made it clear that her disability doesn't stop her from embracing her. She also joined OnlyFans, highlighting her dedication to the body positivity movement. SMA affects the muscles that control everything, including neck movements and swallowing, making even everyday tasks a struggle. Alex revealed that there were times she nearly choked to death, and that her weight dropped so low she almost needed a feeding tube. Over the years, she learned ways to cope with her condition, and began taking Spinraza, a treatment that slows the progression of SMA. The drug has significantly improved her strength and quality of life. But not everything has been positive for Alex online. Her decision to join OnlyFans and post more revealing content has sparked debate across social platforms. Some people praise her for challenging conventional ideas about beauty and disability, while others have reacted negatively, accusing her of clout chasing or saying she's exploiting her disability for attention. Critics on Reddit and in some disability community blogs have questioned whether posting content and monetizing it through OnlyFans is empowering or just a way to gain followers and income at the expense of serious conversations about disability. A petition even circulated calling for her to be banned from social media. Meanwhile, others have defended her, saying disabled people have a right to express their and that criticism often veers into ableism rather than legitimate discussion. Later, during the time she made a TikTok about how she likes men, she started saying she was disabled and that she liked men, and then shifted the whole perspective to liking boys too. She said she'd like to watch them dance and watch them as she lies on her bed, which she also claimed to be better than. As if that weren't diabolical enough, she dropped a bombshell of a statement and just cut her video off like that. I mean, did we all just watch the same video? And why did it take us so long to realize she was a predator? And we actually let this whole reel slide.
Disability. I don't know how relevant that is to what I'm about to say, but I just want to give a shout out to all the super attractive men on here. Men, I mean boys, men and boys, whatever, that are hot as shit and do like dances on here, and where they're just like laying in my bed every night, just like Fuck. This is better than
Well, if that isn't enough for you, here's yet another shocking disclosure so you can evaluate the kind of woman Alex Dacey is. Although the original TikTok couldn't be found, here's a popular screenshot that was quite viral for the kind of abomination it had on it. The caption literally reads, "Ask your friends your type challenge," which specifically means she was most precisely describing her type here, which also included the word underage. When it went viral on Reddit and people were creating forums to discuss more about it, things couldn't be discussed for too long because chances are Alex Dacey herself reported that forum, or it could have been someone else, or simply because it violated Reddit community guidelines to prevent anyone from getting bullied or harassed. Remember the human. Reddit is a place for creating community and belonging, not for attacking marginalized or vulnerable groups of people. Everyone has a right to use Reddit free of harassment and bullying and threats of violence. Communities and users that incite violence or that promote hate based on identity or vulnerability will be banned. Even before she uploaded this video, she often made videos when she was drunk as a skunk and talking about how drunk she is or inappropriate experiences, which no one most likely signed up for watching or listening to. We all like a woman feeling empowered and confident, but whatever this is, it is certainly not it. Let's talk more about her awful drunk and sober confessions. But before that, take a look at this video.
Oh yeah, dude. I am hammered. I shouldn't even be operating this wheelchair right now. It's like heavy machinery, dude. I shouldn't. Hammered. So drunk. Shit.
The fact that she actually promised her audience a 40-day sobriety period since she's handling a little girl, merely 3 years old, seems like it has turned out to be a sham. Most of her viewers are questioning what was up with her sobriety period. Others claim she was just playing with her audience, but it seems otherwise to me. What do you think? This is yet another video, but this time it's some of them getting a call from the welfare check for Alex Dacey while she's extremely drunk and alone. For those who are wondering where her little girl was while this was being recorded, she was reportedly in the care of Alex's parents, who she and Ari were also living with at the time. Some people online have accused her parents of being abusive and struggling with alcoholism, which doesn't make her life any different. The caller starts by saying she has a disability that affects her neck and then claims she's a raging alcoholic. They say they wanted an immediate welfare check because they believed her caregivers had left her alone and that she was drunk, vomiting, and could potentially choke on her vomit.
She's disabled.
Condition she currently has, and she
It's something with her neck.
yeah, and she's a raging alcoholic, but we just kind of wanted to have a welfare check on her, like immediately.
Okay. Is there any particular reason why last time you spoke with her? Sorry.
Any particular reason? Well, she's a raging alcoholic, and she tends, for some reason, her caregivers tend to leave her alone at times. And while we were in the presence,
she has SMA.
She has SMA.
Is what the chat's saying.
So we just want to make sure she's okay.
She's incapable, drunk, alone.
Yeah, she's an incapable drunk who's alone and not able to take care of herself. Her caregivers are not.
She's
there
throwing
at
up
the
a
moment.
lot.
People also claim that she didn't have custody of her little girl during this time, and that her parents filled in for emergency custody. Viewers were concerned about her and her daughter regardless. Some of the comments in this video say, "This is actually scary. Who the hell getting her the alcohol?" It's sad to say this, but if she has no family, he may need a facility to live in for 24 hours our care. Here's when Alex Dacey calls 911 when she was drunk, and things get out of hand. In the video, she starts by talking about being a single mom and mentions that she's said things in the past that she regrets. Then the conversation shifts to her dad, and she openly says that he hates her and that her parents don't really like her, calling her dad really mean. Meanwhile, her daughter also shows up when the cops were out on the porch questioning Dacey. This tells us enough already. Just enough to know her daughter definitely needs someone better to take care of and nurture her.
Here's the thing. I'm a single mom. I told you guys this shit in the past, dude.
What's your dad's deal? What's his involvement in all this? Why does he feel like...
Because he hates me.
Okay. Good. I'm just trying to figure out, make sure you two are good when we leave here.
Want to be with me. Just sit out here with me. Sit. Come by mommy.
You got a cheese stick?
Come here. Come by mommy.
That's my favorite.
You can hear her trying to explain how complicated everything is, mentioning that they've hired an attorney and that things are really hard to handle. At one point, someone off camera mentions that her dad is being arrested because he pushed a police officer, and she reacts in real time.
Your dad's being arrested because he pushed a police officer.
You can't touch police officers.
I
wouldn't do that.
Okay, we need to figure something out long term that's gonna stop it from happening.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
She talks about arguments with her mom, mentions drinking, and describes a fight that allegedly started over money and escalated into yelling, spitting, and threats. She keeps repeating that everyone was drunk and that things spiraled out of control.
What did the argument lead up to?
Well, my mom got wasted.
You guys are both drunk. Who spit in each other's face? It sounds like an exchange of spit to the face.
So I went to my mom because she was in my face saying she's gonna burn my $2,000 backpack.
And then she's saying you spit in her face too.
She did spit my face because I had to wipe it off with a napkin. It actually ate my face, but I don't
It all
care.
started with the $2,000 bag.
No, it didn't. It started my mom being wasted at fucking 8 a.m.
No, I was not.
Yeah, you were.
I was out on the trail walking.
Regardless.
For those who don't know what went down and why, Daisie's dad, John, was arrested. Here's everything in detail with the footage. According to the footage, this happened on September 17th in Illinois, when officers were called out to a home over a domestic incident involving a man and his family. From what we saw earlier, things already seemed strained and heated as the cops arrived. In the next clip, you'll notice Alex Daisie's dad swearing, yelling, and clearly not happy that the cops showed up at their doorstep, claiming the call was bullshit, and blaming his daughter for constantly calling 911.
They're going out on the front porch. Get out of my house. No. Hey, look, little man. Don't with me.
We're not with you, but someone called 911. We have an open line.
Yeah,
well, I'm here to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, but this is a bullshit call from my daughter.
Well, we'll find
and
out.
I'm not gonna put. We will.
Yeah.
Now get the over there and talk to him.
The officer asks who else is inside the house, and the man says his wife and daughter are inside. He tries to go back in to get them, but the officer stops him, explaining that they're responding to a call and he can't just walk back in like nothing's happening. From there, the situation escalates quickly. He starts yelling at the officers, telling them to get out of his house, calling them names, and getting in their faces. The officers repeatedly try to calm him down and keep everyone on the front porch, but he keeps pushing back, literally and verbally. Then everything pops off. He steps up to one of the officers. There's a physical confrontation, and he gets taken to the ground and arrested. He keeps insisting the officer pushed him first and says it's all on the dash cam and body cams, but the officers on scene say they saw the whole thing and that he crossed the line.
Come on, little man. Hey, don't fucking talk to me like that.
Hey! Come on. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground.
He punched me.
No, he did not. I was right there. Put your hands behind your back. Now. Put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest. You're under arrest.
No, I'm under arrest.
Yeah, you are. For ag back to PO. I saw it. The whole damn thing.
He fucking pushed me.
You can't. No, he didn't.
It's on your dash camera. You better. I'm gonna foil that shit.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. We all got body cam.
While he's being arrested, he starts venting about his daughter, calling her a social media influencer, and complaining about constant arguments, childcare issues, drinking, and her wanting to go out.
My daughter's a social media influencer. A lot of nasty stuff came out about her again. And I'm like, when is this going to stop? You came here so we could start over. Well, she's got that attitude now. She's going to sit there and she keeps saying, I'm going to take off. I'm going to take off. So it's the whole thing about who's taking care of your daughter and us. It's I'm more than glad to have you here, but something's got to change. What you did in Florida and everything else with the warrants and all, she's got 3 big things that happened. It's like, when is this gonna stop?
Okay, so you guys have just been arguing all day?
No. I get home at 12:30.
Okay.
Okay. So, but I was getting a text that this was already starting to brew earlier, and took off at 10 o'clock. She comes back at 1 o'clock. Well, what does that mean? Didn't have a diaper change and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm aggravated.
He talks about how they have had multiple incidents, police calls, and ongoing family conflict, and you can tell he's completely overwhelmed and angry about the situation.
But he didn't push you.
But look, they're coming out. Let them come out for this, because this is not the first call, guys. You know how many times you guys have been out here for my daughter? Or
but every call is different, no matter how many times you've been here, John. Okay.
He even says that maybe getting arrested is what it'll take to finally put an end to all the drama with his daughter, basically framing the whole thing as years of built-up frustration and exploding in one moment.
But in a way, this happening, guys, maybe this will put an end. If I gotta suffer the consequences, maybe this will put an end to all this bullshit with my daughter and what the hell she's pulling. Maybe this is something that will say, hey, you know what? no, I can't continue to do this. I can't continue to do this. Maybe this is what it takes.
As far as today goes, everything.
The officers, meanwhile, are trying to piece together what happened, saying it sounds like it was mostly verbal arguing about home care, the child, and the lifestyle choices, but that none of that justifies them putting hands on a cop. At the end, Alex Stacy's dad was charged with multiple offenses, including aggravated battery of an officer and domestic-related charges. As bizarre as his arrest seemed, people actually took John's side on this, showing empathy and pity on him. Being a father of a specially abled woman and a grandfather to one little isn't easy, and he most likely crashed out due to pent-up anger. However, that probably wasn't the best way to behave with the cops. Turns out a lot of people did feel the same way. No matter what is going on with your life, you can't take it out on people, especially a cop. He acted ridiculous, but at the same time, he's at the end of his rope. I feel for him, but his attitude towards cops is not acceptable. I don't think he's bad guy, he's just stressed and fed up. Anyone would be if they had to deal with the BS she probably put her parents through. Well, let's just hope he gets a break from her obnoxious shenanigans for a while. She not only put her parents and the people around her in trouble, but also her caregiver. Hannah, her caregiver, exposed Alex's unknown side. Well, I suppose it isn't surprising at this point. After all we've seen of her, it would be more surprising if it were otherwise. But before we look into Hannah's confessions, let's take a look at what her old caregiver from 4 years ago actually said about her. However, this exchange between Alex and Carissa was quite ordinary and nothing too intense. The questions were casual, and we're not sure if Carissa actually knows this side of Alex, or if she did and just didn't confess it as Hannah did. I mean, we never really know the real reason why she's Alex's ex-caregiver.
It's her content creator side of her support. Yes, I love it. I actually hadn't worked with a client before that did this as their job, and it's super interesting because I'm also an artist and I really like incorporating that like artistic side into things, giving Al a different perspective. So I think it's super fun. It kind of breaks up the routine.
Well, we can say this probably aged poorly. Now let's get to Hannah's confessions. She was invited to the Dad Challenge podcast to let people know Alex Stacy's horrendous revelations, according to which she said she worked for Alex for almost a month, starting with a 3-hour trial, and her job was basically taking care of both Alex and Ari, the baby, as well as cleaning, cooking, and managing everything in the apartment. From the start, Hannah thought Alex was amazing, beautiful, and strong, but things quickly started to shift.
Oh, I don't even know where to start. The woman doxed me to the entire world.
Yep.
Even if, oh gosh, she did a lot of damage. But you know, at this point, I'm not going to let a narcissist dictate my life. So I've really, these last couple days, I've really, with my friends and family, I just said to them, I was just open and honest about it. And I just said, if you guys don't want to be a part of my life, then that's your choice. All I can do is wish you the best and let you guys go.
For context, Alex has done Hannah some terrible things, and we're about to know everything in detail now. Hannah started her shift at Alex, and by day 3, Hannah already started seeing red flags. Alex's mom, Gamey, was drunk at the apartment, and Alex herself was drinking at a restaurant, calling Hannah to come help. Hannah got there, tried to help, and Alex peed on her. That's when she realized this wasn't going to be a normal job. Both Alex and Gamey were heavy drinkers, with Alex drinking multiple high noons during the day while taking medication and that Hannah didn't know the contents of. She described Alex as a functioning alcoholic.
She drank so much, but here's the thing, I can't keep a notepad saying of every day that she drank.
Right, but she drank so much that it was like you can't remember the days she didn't. And they both like, there's not a day you're like, oh yeah, I remember this day she wasn't drinking because it was so much.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was every day, but like here's the thing, when there's so many SMA cups on the counter, you lose what's what.
Yeah, that's true.
As extreme as that sounds, that wasn't the only thing Alex was doing. Hannah used to leave her phone unattended at Alex without any protection or passwords. Normally no one would bother going through someone else's phone, but Alex had different plans. Hannah noticed Alex getting access to her family's inside information, almost as if someone were giving her secret tips. Information she had kept hidden from the rest of the world, words only her family would know. It was strange to begin with. To Hannah, Alex was just a client she had to work for. They weren't close enough for Hannah to share her personal life. That's when she realized Alex had actually been going through her phone. Not only did she go through her phone, but she also kept it logged.
I don't know what she did, but I don't know if she screenshotted, went to my phone, but she knows details about my life that only my immediate family members know, or my best friends since elementary school, people I have gone to school, like very personal stuff. Like I want my life private, and now she's like reaching out to people. I'm like I said, I'm not going to name names because I'm not going to literally my family or my friends. Like no, I'm not going to give her the benefit of the doubt. Like I'm not going to let a malignant narcissist do that to me.
For further context, this was during the initial stages of her unplanned pregnancy. She had an unplanned pregnancy, which honestly caused a lot of people to freak out online because of her disability and health risks. From what we know, she had to go off some life-saving medication to carry the baby, and she hadn't even seen a doctor yet. On top of that, her baby daddy Noah was only a few months into his sobriety when they got pregnant, which honestly is super risky. Now moving on to the caregiver situation. According to Hannah, Alex allegedly went through at least 12 to 13 caregivers, which is a lot for anyone. People who have had caregivers or governesses would know that most prefer to stick with one for life, since over time a bond is often created with someone who is taking care of us besides our family. However, that doesn't seem to be the case with Alex Dacey. It's kind of evident in how she literally plays the victim and takes advantage of everything she encounters. It's high time people like Hannah confront her and expose who she really is.
I have no idea. I know she's had multiple caretakers since she's been 18, but it's probably been, if I had to guess, because I don't know exactly, but like it'd probably be anywhere from 12 to 30, I would imagine.
The moment Alex became aware that Hannah had been invited to the Dad Challenge podcast, she couldn't wait and tried to reach out to her to get her to sign an NDA. However, Hannah decided to block her number once and for all. Even though they hadn't worked together for long, the short period of interaction with Alex was enough to put Hannah off completely.
Well, she reached out to me literally the day she found out we started talking. She said, I wish I can share the text message. That day we started talking and we became friends. She said, what did she say? She said, can you please sign the NDA and return it back to me, please? I have that text message. The day, because you were releasing like, oh, I know this. And so she put 2 and 2 together, obviously. And I have that, but ever since that, like, she's been blocked. Like, she's blocked off everything, you know.
If you're wondering whether Alex was able to find another caregiver after Hannah, she did, especially once it became known that she was expecting a child. It was important for her to have someone to take care of her, assuming she doesn't get too creepy like usual. It's hardly unexpected that that day wasn't the only time Alex tried to reach out to Hannah to get her to sign the NDA. According to Hannah, Alex legitimately pressured and threatened her to sign it from day one, to which Hannah agreed, naturally. Yet another non-shocker, Alex didn't actually have an NDA for her to sign. From what Hannah says, this was just one of Alex's tricks to control and manipulate people, a move intended to assert dominance and ensure that she wouldn't actually spill any inside information. Too bad Alex should have seen it coming.
She kept pressing me every day to sign this NDA. I'm like, okay, put it in front of my face. I never, like, even in one of the videos, she says she has me in writing signing something. I haven't signed anything. I'm like, I told Alex to her face, give me a piece of paper to sign or email it to me. I told her over and over, I said, I will sign it. And so even after, like, the day she found out we started talking, she like literally said, I'm sending you the NDA, please return it to me, I'd appreciate it. I still didn't get anything. So that made me realize there's no NDA to sign. It was a part of her mind game, controlling. That was a part of the thing. And
in all fairness, Hannah was not a certified caregiver. She had nannied for a good 2 years, which gave her a fair amount of experience, but she most likely did not foresee the trauma that Alex would bring her way. Let's now briefly talk about Ari and how she was treated after her birth. From what Hannah observed and shared, she is genuinely concerned about Ari's well-being. Why, you ask? She believes Alex wouldn't actually treat her right, given her drinking habits, addiction, ignorance, and more. Not only that, but Ari's father, Noah, had only been sober for a few months, making it far from an ideal situation for having a baby. Even with all the controversy, Alex was somehow determined to have Ari, and so she did. One could admire Alex's determination for motherhood if only they knew what was yet to come, and how badly Ari was treated and exposed to things a child shouldn't have to face.
it was so severe, all the things that were happening with Ari. I didn't think Ari was gonna, I knew something was gonna happen. Like, I'm still worried. If she's still in her care, I'm still worried.
So when Hannah was working there, she wanted to ensure Ari's safety, so she was getting her family to call the Child Protective Services.
I was getting my family and friends every day to call DCFS because I couldn't, because I didn't know if I was going to be signing an NDA the next day. So the whole time I'm working for her, I'm getting my friends and family to call Animal Control and Department of Child Services. And that's something I haven't even talked about with Josh yet. And
yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so I held on as long as I could.
For everyone wondering why Alex might not be fit for motherhood, beyond the fact that it's hard for her to stay sober, the bigger question is whether she can actually carry her baby or help her child when needed. The answer is fairly simple. She technically needs a caregiver for herself. The most she can do in an emergency is call 911, but there's nothing she can do if she drops her phone, which according to Hannah happens quite often. If you remember the TikTok where Alex dropped her phone and her daughter picked it up for her, it might have seemed innocent and harmless. However, that was all before we knew what lies beneath the surface of the show she's putting on online.
That'd be
So what does she do when she drops her phone?
well. Like somebody has to get it for her. Like literally, she couldn't even do the thermostat. Like I remember one day I was having to help her with the thermostat. She's like, "Hannah, can you get this for me?" And she couldn't even push that. Like
So she doesn't even have like a hand thing that can pick it up off the ground, like an extended like grippy thing. Nothing.
No, she doesn't have that.
Hannah says that Alex didn't even prepare a diaper pile for the baby. Moreover, the baby's peeing and pooping weren't managed properly and were all over the floor.
When I was in there, like a lot of the time they don't even have a diaper pail. That's another thing. There are diapers of straight number 1 and number 2 all over the floor, and so like not even thrown away. So it's very messy, but a lot of times she'll just sit in her diaper. But you know, I think they do the best they can, you know.
Hannah, being just one person, was handling 6 different chores at Alex's house while Ari was choking on confetti on the other side. Alex apparently called Hannah inadequate, even though she had a lot going on around her. And let's not forget, it's not just about raising a baby alone. Hannah also had to manage Alex at the same time. She was basically juggling everything at once, only to be disrespected at the end of the day.
That's the thing. She keeps blaming me and calling me out. But here's the thing, like I did everything. Like I was doing like 6 things at once. That's why I didn't see Ari choking on confetti.
Yeah.
This shows us just how different Alex's on-camera and off-camera personalities are. When the camera is on her, she flaunts her motherhood, advertising how much of a mom she can be. Off-camera, she blames everyone around her for being incapable. At this point, there really isn't much to save. No sympathy. Whatever Alex is doing is entirely her choice and nothing more. Stay tuned because there's more yet to come. After Hannah and her family members made several calls, the CPS finally showed up, and Alex did not want Hannah there. I suppose we all know why, so the CPS showed up after Hannah left. She was fired under the excuse of breaching a contract. However, while she was there, she tried her best to protect Ari.
Yeah, I was not there though. I was not there. They were coming in as soon as I left. So I don't think Alex wanted me there during the visit for some reason. So she was asking me to go. And so while I'm leaving, they're coming in.
That's crazy. And so like, did she seem scared? Did she seem upset? Like what happened?
I think she knew the reason why she fired me, not because of ADHD. Like I couldn't do multiple tasks at once, you know, that excuse about a contract, though there was never a contract. She just knew because once I got on her face about Cairo, saying that you guys neglect the crap out of this dog and you're paying no attention, I'm like, she just knew once after I got on her face that day, and ever since that, she did not want me around for those certain things because she was afraid I was going to slip and say something, which I totally would have.
One of the scariest confessions was about public behavior. Hannah said Alex would go out without underwear or pants, leaning over in public while Hannah tried to get her to cover up. She described it as exposing herself constantly, which was disturbing, especially with fans around. Moreover, Hannah admitted that she had records about the scratches on Ari, which tells us a lot.
You know, the one after the rebuttal video that she took down and did those little, like, stories, she was in that.
She's a lot. She goes out in public.
She's all day in that apartment, and then like she has the right to be like, Hannah can't put pants on me. I'm like, did you not see the amazing videos Josh posted about you being on your period, wearing a tuna towel, not wearing pants? This was long before I even started.
Not only that, Alex allegedly demands that caregivers not wear PPE gloves and prefers everything to be natural, while she remains almost all the time, especially when she cannot manage her hygiene on her own. Every caregiver prefers wearing gloves. Moreover, it's less a matter of preference and more a legal requirement. Whatever Alex was demanding sounds quite illegal, if anything.
So did she say to you, no wearing PPE gloves?
It's so funny. Literally, she says, I like for it to be all natural. She's like,
there's no natural. There's no natural to that.
She doesn't like anybody wearing gloves. She likes everything to be natural, aired out, gloves-wise. Like, literally, I was like, ugh.
No.
I'm not a caregiver.
A caregiver would never, like a licensed caregiver would never be like, yeah, no problem. I'll use my bare hands to clean your body. No thanks.
Yeah, well, I tried will never.
Hannah also noticed the neglect of Ari and the family's chihuahua, Cairo. Ari was often left alone for hours, sometimes with exposure to vape smoke from Noah and even cigarette smoke from Gammy, which is obviously not safe. The baby also had marks and bruises appearing frequently, with Alex brushing them off as she fell. Hannah was deeply concerned about Ari's safety, especially after incidents like choking on confetti at her own birthday party, while everyone, including Alex, was distracted with the event and taking photos. Noah, Alex's partner, was unpredictable, sometimes high and emotionally volatile. Hannah described him as the wild card with a personality disorder, often leaving the apartment or vaping indoors, sometimes blowing smoke directly at Ari. Alex's mom, Gamey, was verbally abusive toward Hannah, seeing her as a threat, while Noah's parents were a mixed bag. Daryl more relaxed and understanding. Tracy was extremely strict and condescending. Hannah also talked about Alex's controlling and manipulative behavior. For instance, when Hannah tried to make sure Cairo got proper attention, Alex would passively aggressively tell her to stop questioning her decisions. Alex would also take credit on TikTok for food Hannah made, pretending she was cooking when really she was just rolling it around for the video. Alex's disability meant she could only really use one hand, so Hannah was doing most of the caregiving work. The emotional abuse was constant too. Alex would mock the baby when she cried, using terms like pathetic, while Ari was still learning and exploring the world. So this was just some little insider information that we got from Hannah, Alex Stacey's ex-caregiver. And honestly, one of the most concerning things about all of this, if you really think about it, is the fact that Alex is bringing random men into her home while there's a small child in the house. Like, who even knows who these people are? There's no vetting, no background check, nothing. And let's be real, that's terrifying when there's a baby involved. You don't know their motives. What if someone sees Alex as an easy target? Not just for her, but for the baby too? And here's the scary part. What happens if Alex is passed out drunk, which apparently happens a lot, and these men are alone in the house with her child? There's literally no way to control that situation, no way to intervene if something goes wrong. That's not just poor judgment, that's putting a vulnerable child in the real danger, which is yet another reason why it is not safe to leave Ari alone with Alex. I mean, this isn't speculation, it's common sense. A baby can't speak up, can't protect themselves, and if the only adult around is incapacitated or distracted, that's a huge red flag. It's like, you can't plan for every worst case scenario, but this is a scenario that's completely preventable. And what really makes it worse is that Alex seems to document all of this online, taking TikToks, photos, and content, basically jeopardizing Ari's safety. However, Hannah did admit that Alex really does love her baby. Now let's get to the part about how Alex and Noah Simith, aka her baby daddy, met and eventually fell in love while she was having her thing for younger or underage boys on the side. Well, let's just finish one at a time given the amount of tea that we have to cover. Initially, what Alex and Noah had was sweet and romantic, or at least that's how it seemed online. This was one of the first TikToks that she posted of him with a caption that reads, "Sober, healthy, happy, and expressing himself. I love you." However, it didn't take long before they turned into what the internet calls one of the most confusing and toxic couples in an unstable relationship. Now, somewhere along her journey, she met Noah Smith, and they connected on a dating app called Bumble. What many people don't know is that early on in their relationship, both of them faced skepticism, even from their own families. Alex's family was reportedly unsure about Noah because he had struggled with drug addiction in the past and had been to rehab multiple times, and Noah's family had a hard time understanding him dating a disabled woman. But despite that, they made it work and kept dating. Now here's where the story takes off on social media. The couple was both excited and nervous. Being pregnant is a big deal for anyone, but for Alex it meant going off her life-saving medication for SMA because the treatment could harm the baby. That was a risk she chose to take to carry the pregnancy, and she talked about how intense and exhausting that was. At the same time, Noah stepped up and became more of a caregiver to her during this period because she needed extra help, which again is normal in a relationship, but it gave online critics something to latch onto. But even before the baby was born, everything started turning into drama. Most importantly, because Alex seemingly got pregnant 3 months into their relationship. People online weren't just offering support, a huge amount of negativity started showing up in comments. Some people doubted the pregnancy was even real and accused them of faking it for clout. Some comments were extremely cruel, telling Alex that the pregnancy was illegal or that she shouldn't have a baby because of her disability. They even questioned whether Noah really loved her or just had a disability fetish. Those kinds of comments are hurtful and rooted in ableism, and Alex responded publicly, saying she wanted to use her pregnancy to end stigma and show that disabled women can be mothers too. Regardless of all the backlash, Alex decided to capture everything throughout her pregnancy. She documented ultrasounds, appointments, her changing body, everything. She described what a disabled high-risk pregnancy felt like. The fatigue from her disability reached its peak to the point where she could barely feel her own body. She had hardly any energy to eat, sleep, brush her hair, or handle any simple day-to-day activities. However, she said Noah was there to take care of everything. In a way, she was definitely inspirational to so many women who are similarly challenged as her. A lot of her viewers left positive comments under her pregnancy video coverage. She named her baby Ari Jacqueline Smith. Ari was born a bit early at 34 weeks and 2 days, but she was healthy and gorgeous according to supporters. Alex and Noah shared that skin-to-skin moment with her daughter as one of the most incredible experiences of her life. Now here's where things start to get more complicated, and where the narrative online starts to shift. After Ari was born, a lot of the conversation moved from just celebrating the birth to questioning Alex and Noah's parenting. A number of social media critics and Reddit threads began alleging that Alex and Noah were their child for content, that they were posting too much of Ori online, and that they were monetizing the child. Some of this reporting came from commentary channels like the Dad Challenge podcast, where former caregivers claimed that the couple aired too much of their private life online, and that this wasn't healthy behavior. Although they had their haters, Alex's parents were supportive of them. They were shocked but excited, unsure of what the reaction would be. The news was delivered with fear and uncertainty, but over time everyone involved had a chance to process it, and excitement grew. Family and friends are feeling a mix of emotions, happiness, and anticipation, but also concern for safety and well-being during this upcoming journey. There have been accusations from some former caregivers, people who worked for Alex, just like how Hannah confronted everyone about Alex. They later spoke out anonymously, saying that Alex was demanding, difficult to care for, and that she controlled her caregivers by making them sign non-disclosure agreements. One caregiver on record said that working with her was emotionally draining, and that Alex treated them more like servants than like people providing medical care. That paints a very different picture from the compassionate, supportive influencer she portrays publicly. And it didn't stop with caregivers. Online critics have gone as far as to share allegations that Alex posts content featuring Ari in ways that could be risky, and that revealing her location or baby details could expose the child to danger. People have even alleged that both Alex and Noah have struggled with substance issues in the past, claims that they break up and get back together repeatedly, and that Child Protective Services has been involved in different states. Those latter claims come from online gossip and social platforms, not major news outlets, so take them with a grain of salt, but they definitely show just how intense and messy the online narrative has gotten.
All of this is his shoes. All those bins are his items. His shorts. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Noah, who started off as the supportive partner, became a bigger part of the story, but not always in a flattering way. Social media commenters have brought up his past with addiction, and have used that to question his ability to be a good partner and a good father. Critics on Reddit have suggested that Noah was put on involuntary psychiatric holds, or that he punched walls in anger. The fact that it's not just Noah, little did we realize that Alex has been playing top-tier victim cards since the very beginning, like the time when she literally ran people over with her wheelchair just to cut the line at a club, and then had the audacity to act like the victim when people called her out. That's wild. And the whole bathroom stunt, parking outside just to film and shame a woman using the handicap stall. As someone with a disability, she should know better about invisible disabilities. On top of that, the fact that she's never wearing pants in public while dragging a baby along, it's hard not to see it as straight up exploitation. It's a lot. Those weren't just the accusations. Here's another one, and it's truly sickening. Let's not forget her victim shaming a minor that is a victim and making of content with that rapist. Let me briefly talk about this one before we go to the next part. Alex allowed a man who allegedly and SA minors to live with her. According to online posts, during a TikTok live, fans asked her directly about this person, and some interpreted her responses as dismissive, defensive, or even provocative. People have taken her posts as an attempt to get a rise out of the victims or their supporters. Moreover, she defends and is a bit of predator herself, and she's admitted to being attracted to 17-year-old boys. Many claim that her pregnancy chapter was just a way to promote the idea that she can do more than just club, drink, and be a mother with a disability to rake in views and money. That wouldn't sound like a stretch to me, as a matter of fact. If it weren't for her pregnancy, she wouldn't have become super popular during that period, and she certainly wouldn't have been able to milk views from the single mom and Ari content. Heavy on same for fathers, because later on Noah added the link to his OnlyFans in his bio on Instagram. So what's the relationship status now? As of the most recent public posts and commentary, Alex and Noah are still connected through co-parenting their daughter Ari, but their relationship has been extremely tumultuous and is often portrayed online as on again, off again. They both continue to post on social media, but Alex especially continues to share moments of her life with Ari. Even after saying she wouldn't post baby content anymore, she went back on that and kept sharing. Critics see that as exploitation, supporters see it as documenting life the way many parents do. That was all about her pregnancy, but what happened after that? Was she able to take care of Ari? Well, you can take a wild wild guess. It's the wheelchair Rapunzel. What could actually go right? Losing Ari's custody had less to do with her disability and more to do with her attitude toward motherhood. Raising a child isn't easy, even for physically fit people, which naturally added more difficulty for Alex, especially when she needed someone to meet her needs. With Noah being an on and off dad, taking breaks in their relationship, things just weren't working out, and the family dynamic was completely off. Technically, they had only been together for 7 months, and by the 3rd month, she was already pregnant, so they probably never had the chance to truly get to know each other as a couple, something that basically led to the dysfunctional duo they are today. Alex Dacey has been saying online about her situation as a single mom. She's been saying she has sole custody, that she doesn't receive child support, and that she financially supports Noah's child. But there's a lot more context behind all of that. First off, they're in the middle of a child custody case, and without even diving into the details of that case, just claiming sole custody is leaving out some really important stuff. Alex intentionally left Noah off the birth certificate at first, which meant he had no legal obligation to pay child support until he went through the process to be legally recognized as Ari's father. That's just the law. I'm not talking about moral responsibility here, just legal facts. He wasn't legally required to send child support during those months or years. On top of that, there were periods where Noah was actually the primary caregiver for both Alex and Ari. There were also months where Ari spent time with her grandparents, which would obviously impact any child support arrangement. So even though Alex says she doesn't get support, that doesn't tell the full story. Then there's the financial side of things. Alex doesn't really talk about her finances on social media, but if you look at the court documents she submitted in the last couple of months, it's a different picture. She reported over $20,000 in credit card debt and other monthly obligations, while claiming her income is equal to or less than what she owes. She also stated in those documents that she can't afford care for herself or for her child, so her public statements about supporting Noah's child financially just don't line up with what she's reported to the courts. And there's another concern. Alex has been limiting Ari's communication with her father, even though the court has ruled he has the right to see her. That's a big deal, because it's one thing to have a custody dispute, but another to intentionally block the child from seeing a parent who has legal rights. Alex may be doing things to care for Noah's child, but her statements about finances and custody don't line up with what the court documents show. She's intentionally framing the situation in a way that doesn't tell the whole story, and that's something people need to understand before taking her claims at face value. Now, custody cases in Florida are, by law, supposed to be public record, which means hearings can technically be attended by the public, but most of the actual filings and details are usually protected, especially when it involves a minor. So while we know she said she's in the middle of a custody case, the specifics about filings, rulings, or court orders haven't been released. The child's identity and court documents aren't publicly available, obviously for privacy reasons, and there's very little verified reporting from actual news outlets covering the case. Child Protective Services, or CPS, allegedly visited because of videos showing what critics considered unsafe situations. There's this one example people keep bringing up where Ari was apparently choking or gagging. Instead of immediately intervening, Alex allegedly kept filming. Well, that's weird for someone who claims they love their child. Another major concern that online users cite is Alex's personal behavior and the environment in her home. There are claims that days spent partying, drinking, or otherwise engaging in what people call unstable behaviors raised questions about Ari's safety. After the custody case started, a lot of people online have been speculating about what actually happened with Ari's care. Many claim that the child has spent a significant amount of time living with her paternal grandparents. Even Hannah claimed Daryl, Noah's dad, is a reliable man with whom Ari can be trusted. Some people also suggest that Alex's visits with Ari are now supervised or limited by the court. Observers point out that Ari barely appears in Alex's recent posts, and they infer from that custody arrangements have changed. Some people have started petitions urging social platforms to ban Alex's accounts, claiming that she exploits her child for content. This is another aspect that drives online commentary, and it feeds into the broader narrative that people feel the child's safety and privacy are at risk. Some Redditors also claim that it seems like she's having an ankle monitor and that she wore a pair of socks as an attempt to cover it up. But from what we've heard, she probably has one. Her probation took some time to transfer from Florida to Illinois, and it appears that Noah or his attorneys may have contacted her probation officer after she allegedly made drunk phone calls to Noah's mother. Based on this, it's likely that her probation officer determined she wouldn't stop drinking on her own, and an ankle monitor would be the most effective way to ensure compliance. Now lastly, let's get into the most important part, Alex Dacey's felony charges, after having a 13-year-old bathe her. For everyone who heard bits and pieces of this news everywhere, here's everything you need to know about the allegations. The starting point is what people online refer to as the felony incident, which involved a minor. The alleged victim was a 13-year-old boy. He later participated in a forensic interview when he was 14, and from his perspective, he acted out of kindness and empathy. He was trying to help a disabled disabled adult who appeared to need assistance. The situation, however, escalated into something that should never have involved a minor in that way. The scenario, as it has been described online, is that Alex met this boy in the elevator and over the course of the encounter, asked him to help her into her apartment. Once inside, the situation reportedly progressed to him assisting her with undressing and placing her into the bathtub. She also allegedly requested that he order alcohol for her, using services like Uber Eats, and then further asked him to help her out of the bath, get dressed, and set up her bed. At the time, Alex was intoxicated. From a child's perspective, the boy did not act inappropriately. He was trying to help someone who was clearly in a vulnerable position. He recognized that she misused his trust and his good intentions, and understood that the responsibility for what happened lay squarely with her. This distinction is critical because it frames the situation, not as the child doing something wrong, but as an adult minor under the guise of needing assistance. Legally, this incident resulted in serious consequences initially. She was charged with a felony. However, the case did not proceed to a standard trial where the maximum penalties would have applied. Instead, she entered a plea deal that reduced the charges to a misdemeanor, accompanied by probation. Reports suggest that she avoided traditional jail time due to her disability, with the court acknowledging her specific needs as a disabled person. While the court noted that mistakes were made, they also considered her condition and the challenges that come with it. Her response to the situations, as reported online, involved several explanations. She claimed that she did not know the boy's exact age, although he had communicated it to her. She stated that her intentions were purely caregiving and not in nature. She also referenced the lack of proper care in her life at the time, and admitted to being intoxicated during the incident. Additionally, she expressed remorse, stating that she would try to learn from what happened. Whether people find this explanation sufficient varies widely, but it does form part of the public narrative. Beyond the legal outcome, there are serious ethical and community concerns that arise from this case. First and foremost is child safety. Involving a minor in private, intimate care tasks while intoxicated is highly inappropriate under any circumstances. The fact that the minor was asked to assist in bathing and dressing constitutes a major ethical red flag, even if there was no motivation. It illustrates a clear failure in judgment and boundary setting. Second, there are boundary issues that extend beyond this single incident. Alex appears to have a pattern of expecting help from strangers or others in ways that are unsafe. Online discussion has pointed to instances where she relied on caregivers or casual acquaintances for personal tasks without proper oversight or screening. This pattern raises questions about entitlement and a lack of accountability in situations where power dynamics are inherently imbalanced, particularly when a minor or someone inexperienced is involved. Past reports from caregivers and people familiar with her online content suggest that there has been a recurring pattern of poor boundaries and exploiting those who are trying to help. This includes asking minors or inexperienced people to perform adult tasks that are inappropriate or unsafe. While disability influencers often share aspects of their lives publicly, there's a critical line between demonstrating independence and placing others in potentially harmful situations. The incident also prompts broader discussions about responsibility versus disability accommodations. Society generally recognizes that disabled individuals may require assistance for daily living, but this does not mean that any person, especially a child, should be involved in intimate or potentially dangerous care situations. The courts in this case seem to weigh her disability heavily when determining her sentence, but ethically, the situation remains concerning. Adults in similar positions need to balance their needs with the safety of those around them, especially minors. From a legal perspective, this case exposes limitations in how the justice system handles disabled defendants. While the court took her disability into account, some online commenters have expressed concern that the punishment may have felt insufficient relative to the severity of the ethical breach. Traditional incarceration is difficult for disabled individuals, and alternatives like probation can result in outcomes that feel more lenient than some observers might expect. However, the legal system's priority in such cases is to balance public safety, rehabilitation, and the defendant's specific needs, which can result in sentences that the general public perceives as minimal. The child's perspective is particularly important in this narrative. He was able to recognize the misuse of his goodwill, understood that he did nothing wrong, and had supportive parents taking action. This shows that minors are not inherently incapable of recognizing ethical violations, and it underscores the responsibility of adults to never put them in compromising situations. While the child acted appropriately, the potential for trauma remains. Being involved in intimate care tasks while intoxicated with an older adult is, at minimum, confusing and emotionally challenging. It's reasonable to assume there could be long-term effects, even if they are subtle, and society has an obligation to prevent situations like this from happening in the first place.